Welcome to the final episode of the 3 episode series with Rohit Sood on Tech Talk with KD. Today we talk about Green Data Center. Exciting, isn't it? If you've missed the previous 2 episodes, the link is available in the description. Do check them out. So without doing further ado, let's get on with Green Data Center with Rohit Sood. But before going further, do subscribe my channel Tech Talk with KD on YouTube. So Rohit, welcome back to Tech Talk with KD.
Thank you, KD.
So Rohit, in the last episode we were talking about power servers and you touched upon the carbon footprint reduction, meeting the ESG goals of an organization, right? And you took the name of a term, Green Data Center, right? And at that time, we announced that we will be doing the Green Data Center as the third episode. So just wanted to know, and in Tech Talk with KD style, which is simplifying complex technology in layman terms, right? So we just wanted to understand what exactly is the concept of Green Data Center.
Sure, KD. I think let's try to simplify this. By looking at the problems today and looking at what a green data center is and what it should be able to look like, right? Now let's start with some problems. I think did you know that 2% of the world's electricity today are consumed by the data centers?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, 2% is the world's electricity which is being supplied. And let's come to this part of the world, right? Let's look at Singapore as a country, right? When you looked at Singapore, I think there are 60 data centers inside Singapore, and they account to about 7% of the electricity being generated by Singapore, right?
That's huge.
Yeah, and then let's look at other large country like China, right? They have a number of 6% today when it talks about, and looking at that problem statements and the energy consumptions in terms of meeting their ESG goals, they have a 3-year plan to actually make their PUEs, which is the currency in a data center, to efficiently monitor and evaluate how they are consuming energy inside a data center. So they have a mandate to be less than 1.3 of a PUE by 2023 end, and they have also taken and jump, and today they are 60% from a consumption perspective. So they are actually looking at by 2030 they should be at 100% of that piece of it, and saying that the PUE should be almost zero in terms of looking at data centers consumption of electricity, and that relates to savings of ESG goals. And that's not the end of it, but then I think when you look at data centers today, they are looking at kind of a scope 3 emission. So when you do ESG reporting, there are scope 1, scope 2, scope 3s. And today there are challenges in reporting those ESG goals pertaining to the data centers when it comes to the scope 1, scope 2 and scope 3. And a green data center is actually going to help deliver that capability across to the enterprises.
Interesting. So you're really saying 7% of a country's total consumption of electricity is by the data centers.
Yes.
7%, 6%, and 2% of the global. That's quite a number, right? And this is only going to go up, right? With the kind of evolution of technology that is happening, I think this is only going to go up, and that is where the need of green data centers comes into. So Rohit, I wanted to ask you, how do you go about doing this? So there are different aspects to a data center, right? So we were talking last time. There is real estate. There is so much of complication in the real estate in the first place, right? And then there is efficiency from a cooling point of view, efficiency from a computing point of view, right? And so there are so many layers.
And to make it complex, there are applications running on top.
Correct. So how do you go about it? Do you tackle this layer by layer, or do you do a complete,
No, I think you can't do it as Tech Talk with KD is all about to simplify things. So we have to simplify this, break it up into layers, as you rightly said. I think let's look at 4 layers in a data center, right? So you start with the layer 0, which is what you talk about the infrastructure. When you talk about the infrastructure, it is the not the IT infrastructure. I'm talking about the low ground level in terms of the buildings, the UPS, the cooling plants. Those are the ones which are at the lowest level, right? Now you need a mechanism to understand what is their generating capacity, right? And what is the consumption coming out of that at that level, at that layer 0, right? The fundamental is that you go and there are pre-built connectors available, and you use those connectors to get the data. You clean that data into a data lake, which is delivering the platform, and then you have a reporting mechanism to look at the data, look at the standards of ESG, and there are, by the way, worldwide standards on ESG, and there are country level standards. If you are in a data center in India, you have to do a BSR reporting format, and that should also link to a worldwide ESG format to look at your capability, how you are reporting those ESG. And by the way, did you know that top 1,000 companies in India today are mandated by government to do an ESG reporting?
Yep, right? I did hear about that.
So that's how, when you look at that layer 0, which is these lowest level devices, we need to collect those data, analyze that data, and then look at the reporting capability of how we are managing the energy, managing the cooling, and managing the infrastructure space, as you talk about.
So the data that you're collecting from the layer 0, you're having any tools to go ahead and analyze them, or you feed it to some tool? What do you do?
Right, KD. So you rightly said, there are tools required to do that. And when you look at an IBM sustainability platform, today delivers those tools. The 2 key tools which are being used over here is IBM Maximo Monitor, which actually goes and creates that data lake for you by using a company which an IBM acquired called Omnio, and that provides the connector to all these devices at a layer 0, where it calls different models and makes of UPSs, building infrastructures, right? These connectors are pre-built, so they can go and take those data automatically, give it to Maximo Monitor, that creates the data lake sort of a thing, and does an analytics on top of it to clean that data. And then you feed that to a reporting framework, which is also a new acquisition by IBM called NVZ. NVZ is an ESG framework reporting tool, which is available for an end enterprise to deliver its ESG reporting capabilities.
So basically what we are doing is we are collecting all that data available from the layer 0, feeding it to different tools, which is finally feeding it into the ESG reporting tool, and that is how you are able to calculate the ESG, right?
Exactly.
Okay, and so that's about layer 0. So what comes at layer 1?
So when it comes to layer 1, I think to simplify, the definition of layer 1 is the IT assets, right? So IT assets has a power supply into them, and you need to monitor how much of consumption is there at each IT assets. Okay. So here we use standard capabilities of SNMP, which is a standard protocol. Go and ping those devices, get those SNMP data, bring that SNMP data back to Maximo Monitor, and merge this with the layer 0 input, and give you a single view across layer 0 and 1 when it comes to an NVZ as a reporting capability.
And that is where the power systems also come into picture, right?
Power systems, mainframes, when you talk about x86 systems, I think all of them delivers those feeds for an ESG reporting framework to map that from an input coming from layer 0 to a consumption at a layer 1 from an IT asset, and then they map it in terms of the reporting capability.
Okay, so we have the feeds from layer 0, we have the feeds from layer 1. All of them are feeding into the ESG reporting tool, which is NVC, and then we look at the top two layers, which is layer 3 and layer 4.
Layer 2 and layer 3.
Layer 2 and layer 3.
Right.
So yeah, okay. So what do we have in layer 2? So I'm envisioning that this is like a journey, right? Like from a digital transformation point of view, if somebody asks me from a business automation standpoint, it is a journey.
Yep.
You take that journey and you do one by one by one. You take one step at a time. I'm getting a feeling from it that the green data center is also a journey. It is not that I bought something and it's not a plug and play kind of a thing. So you can do layer by layer, and we can start any layer at any point of time. It does not really matter that you have to start from a layer 0 or a layer 1 or something like that.
No, I think sustainability goals, to put them into action, I think the whole thing is to simplify. And the simplify is to first ascertain your goals and then break those actions into simple steps, and then move from each layers as a layer as you go forward, and then deliver that capability.
Can you touch a little bit upon the ESG reporting tool that you are talking about? So what exactly it does?
No, so again, as I said, there are standards. There are standards available at a global level from an ESG standpoint. And I think the best example is if you go to refer to an IBM ESG report which just was delivered by Arvind Krishna, I think a couple of weeks back. I think that gives you a framework of how IBM reports their ESG capability, right? And that's, as I said, as an example at the background, every country has their own standards as well. So I think these standards are available, and if not, customizable in the tool which I talked about, NVZ. And it covers scope 1, scope 2 and scope 3. Now, to give you a high level view of your scope 1 and scope 2 are which you're direct influencing the ESG savings, and scope 3 is your channel, the supply chain, the channels, how you use your channel to feed back the ESG savings back into you, and you can report it back to it. So that is what the capability of the tool is when you talk about an NVZ, ensuring your ESG framework delivering as a single view across to an enterprise.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you get to see everything at once, right?
Yes.
All layers at once. So coming back to the layers, right? So we were at layer layer 2 and layer 3.
Right. So layer 2 and layer 3 becomes interesting and complex because now we are talking about.
I don't like complex.
Yeah. So no, they are complex, but we have to simplify to implement it, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about layer 2, I think that is when it comes to your cloud native capabilities of Kubernetes, right? You have pods, as we call it in terms of containers. How you can look at each pod and how the energy consumption per pod, right? So that is a good one view in terms of and then whether one pod is busy or the other pod is not, then you can actually spread them workload across them to ensure that your ESG goals are high, achievement is higher, and your carbon savings are much lower, right? So it is all about automation across these layers of not only when you talk about VMs, containers as a pods, and then you use tools from IBM to give that data in terms of, we use these two tools, Turbonomic and Instana.
Oh yeah, correct.
Right? And when you talk about observability at an application level, and that mapping that application to the infra, whether it is VMs and pods, your Turbonomics gives you a single view across this platform and helps you give you a view. And this data, which is captured by Instana and Turbonomic, is available in terms of the data framework, pushing to the maximum monitor and then to NVZ to give you a single view.
Right. So yeah,
before you bring in, now how does it help? So to give you a view at an application level, if you are able to report how much a carbon savings is being achieved at an application level with the help of tools of Instana and Turbonomic, which delivers a capability to solve your problem. When you talk about Instana, it gives you the complete observability at an app layer, and it helps you optimize your code so that you can be efficient from a carbon savings as well. So all of these insights coming together at a single layer, and then you have a reporting framework which can go and report in terms of your ESG.
Yeah, I mean that's phenomenal, because Instana and Turbo I am also pretty familiar with, and the way Turbo actually takes the feeds in from the Instana, and what it does is pure magic, right? So it actually optimizes your data center infrastructure to such an extent that you're only running what is required, and you only scale up when it is required, right? And it may sound very simple, but trust me, Turbonomic it's just magic, right?
Oh yeah, I have seen my few of my close industry experts who are actually in the data center. They feel really scared of which servers to shut down without impacting any performance, right? And where this Turbonomic and Instana comes in and helps at a single view, and that is mapped back to your reporting framework and saying, if you shut down these servers without impacting the workload, you are going to save this much of carbon in your days.
Yeah, and I similarly I have actually had customers coming back and saying, this looks too good to be true, so it's like they're like, it seems as if we are dreaming the way it works.
No, I'll tell you an example of a ground zero where we were able to efficiently, from an efficiency perspective, improve by 70% of carbon savings inside a single data center, IBM data center, without changing any processes, by using these 4 key technologies: Maximo, NVZ, Instana, and Turbonomics.
Amazing. That's amazing. And if I want to put things into perspective, right? And we are towards the end of the show now. So if you want to put things into perspective from let's say an IBM standpoint, we are really talking about the layer 1, let's say a power system comes, or a Linux 1 system comes in, right? And then for layer 3 and layer 4, anyways, we have Instana and Turbonomic, the Maximo, the Omnia, the Tririga feeding all this information into NVZ from the OT devices. It really is going to create huge difference for these data centers who have actually implemented, and significant cost reduction. So apart from going green, there is going to be a significant cost reduction. So the company,
one aspect of going green is to save cost.
Correct, but normally there is a myth that if we are going green, then we are actually pumping in more money. But that it's not the case. It might be the case in short term, but then in the long term, there are significant amount of savings, like 40 to 50% savings, 60% saving, which you're talking about, is actually huge.
Oh yeah,
right. So
practically achievable.
That's great to know. So I think we would that's great insight from you, Rohit, over the 3 episodes. It's been great learning from you. First the quantum, then the power, and then now the green data center. It's really been amazing talking to you on these topics, and I hope to catch up on more topics with you in the future. Thank you so much for being a part of Tech Talk with KD, and thank you so much.
Thank you, KD. It was my pleasure, and hope to connect with you on new topics very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks, Rohit. So that was it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sure we got a lot of insights from Rohit in these 3 episodes. Tech Talk with KD will be back very soon with another tech topic on this channel. Do like, share, and subscribe my channel, Tech Talk with KD. Thank you, and bye-bye.